I'm Don. It's late. I'm up. Welcome to Night Owl Movie Talk. According to the analytics, most of you are here for the first time, so I welcome you. We are a show where we get together people who can't sleep at night and watch awesome movies, cult classics, big deal movies, important films. Tonight's important film because it's the full moon is one of the better werewolf movies ever made. I'm a bit of a werewolf movie connoisseur. I like them all. It's probably my favorite of the universal monster, archetypes. So tonight we're going to go with Dog Soldiers, as you probably saw on the credit or the title and the thumbnail and what have you. I'm going to be watching this one on Amazon Prime. Pardon me, I'm getting my microphone set up. There we go. That's much better. So I welcome you for joining me and for checking out this movie with me. I'm gonna get it started here in just a second. This one's directed by Neil Marshall. He's a pretty dang awesome director. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the this story, why it's a good werewolf movie. Um, Talk about some of the other stuff that you could other. Every time we watch one of these werewolf movies, it sort of descends into the discussion of other people's favorite werewolf movies and what's your favorite werewolf movie, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm sure we will be getting to that here shortly. I see it's also on AMC Plus as well as Prime Video, so I'm going to be watching it on Prime. Um, I believe there's no commercials. Let's double check here. Um, but anyways, how are you guys tonight? It's like I say, tonight is the full moon. Usually during these full moons, I like to watch a werewolf movie, one of the better ones, because there's just not a lot of good werewolf movies. I complain about that a lot, unfortunately. Um, but as I said, this is one of the good ones. I think this one gets the brilliant idea that the problem with werewolves is don't just let the werewolves be the whole movie. Let's have some extra stuff, right? Add machine guns. Um, oh, hey, I see some folks are piling into the chat. So before I press play on this movie, I'm all queued up at the Kismet Entertainment Group, the little dog with the top hat on. So apparently we're playing Monopoly up in this BIH. We got my friend Anthony Chabot here. Hey, buddy, how are you? By the way, you're almost up to 2021 in his memoirs. I recall last night you were on 2020, so you must have been working on them since last night. That is awesome. Good for you. I'm seeing Mario Galaxy Tuesday. Yeah, I'm split on that. Really enjoyed that first one. Uh, you know, the been on Netflix and HBO Max and all these places. I've seen it a bunch. So my kids like it. We often sing a bunch of the songs from it. My when my daughter saw my tattoo of a King Kong on my arm, her first thing was, "Ooh, Donkey Kong." So that movie's a good one. I enjoyed it a lot. It was really cool. Jack Black is kind of stole the show as he often does, but this new one's getting terrible reviews. People are like, it's just a mediocre movie. It feels kind of like a cash grab. I saw Star Fox is in it and a few other little interesting Easter egg type things. So yeah, I'm interested in seeing it, but it's definitely wait till streaming. Um, uh, Thank you. Mrs. Night Owl heard my stomach growling while I was getting ready for the show, so she decided to make me some toast and jam, which is very sweet. Thank you, love. Why are you waiting on me? You're the one that's pregnant. By the way, Mrs. Night Owl is pregnant, so at any point during this show, if I have to stop the proceedings and say, "I'm sorry, guys, we got to go to the hospital," that is a thing. So until little baby Lily coming into the world is born, we're going to be on a little bit of red alert during these shows and. If I disappear at any point in between shows, you understand I'm off having a baby. Speaking of having a baby, the pinned comment in the comment section there is the baby registry. If you'd like to buy some formula or some diapers or whatever, a lot of nice folks have contributed. I appreciate it so much. It's nice for a little baby to come into the world with some things already waiting for her. So very sweet of those who've already contributed. Very nice of y'all. I appreciate it very much. So does Mrs. Night Owl. Anthony also says he watched Slaughter High. Oh, we were talking about April Fool's Day movies and stuff. Yeah, that's a good one. Let's see here. Night Dog Movie Talk. Welcome, Echo Zero. Cha 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 cha. Welcome, Echo. Nice to see you, buddy. Yes, it is Night Owl Dog Talk, Dog Movie Talk. Yeah, that's one of the things we'll talk about with this is the title Dog Soldiers. Mwah, good night, honey. The title Dog Soldiers is often misleading. It leads to the discussion of is this actually a werewolf movie or is this a Dogman movie or what is the deal with this title? So we'll get to that at some point, I'm sure, as well. Welcome, Echo Cero, our awesome longtime friend. I was watching Super Mario Brothers Super Show. Sergeant Slaughter was there. Really? I didn't know that. Did he do the Cobra Clutch on anybody? Congratulations, buddy. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I'm excited for a little baby. Man, I'm also excited for poor Mrs. Night Owl to not have to carry little baby around anymore. I'm excited for WrestleMania. Yeah, we are in WrestleMania season. I don't think I'm gonna get to see it this year. It's like the first year I won't have the service that has it. For a long time, I had the WWE Network, and then they sold that whole thing to Peacock, and Peacock just happened to be one of the things I had. So I ended up seeing WrestleMania for however long now. So now that it's gone, I don't know. I don't know. That's usually one of the only ones I watch. WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble are the main ones I only ever care about. The rest I just kind of follow the storylines through other people talking about it. Some wrestling is a good thing that's best overheard. BRB got a haircut. Need to go rinse out any loose hairs off my head. Oh, did you? You cut it? You cut it tight again? You keep the big beard? What'd you do? You go with the Zeus from No Holds Barred with the big Z, except maybe like an E kind of a thing. I don't know. This is all stuff to think about. Anyways, another stuff to think about is dog soldiers for the full moon tonight. It's a big, beautiful full moon. I just went out and looked at it for the show, so I figure we'll get started on this and press play in three, two, one. Like I say, we got the Kismet logo. Are you playing or what are you doing? Yes, the subtitles are on. Okay. Oh, sorry. I jumped. It's letting me know. Flashing lights and subtitles. Thank you. Thank you. What are you doing to me? Okay, press play. All right. Old man Don gets confused by streaming technology. We have press play. Um, Kismet Entertainment Group. Wow, that's shaky. You can tell that was made kind of cheap. That's part of the thing of this. This is a very low budget movie. It made very little money at the theater. I mean, it was like at roughly a $3 million. You can. There's all sorts of arguments over what this cost. They put the numbers out in pounds and then they try to convert it and the dollar rate and the pound rate and everything. It messes it all up. So we'll just say $3 million to make it, and then it made barely over five. So not even its money back. Kind of a thing that just played in theaters and no one cared about. I imagine the marketing wasn't all that great. It's got a kind of a grimy look to it. It mostly played in Europe. This is a British film. It's about these British soldiers who go to the Scottish Highlands and end up stumbling into a den of werewolves, and they have to fight them off. And you get awesome stuff like gunfights with werewolves. It's amazing. You can't go wrong with this. Um, it's at the same time that around 28 days later, yeah, it came out. So there was sort of an interest in sort of European British cinema. There was a revival. Danny Boyle. This is Neil Marshall, the director. He's also mainly known for The Descent. I also dig him. He did Doomsday. If you've seen that one, Doomsday's a winner. I like Doomsday. And then also he did a couple of the important episodes of Game of Thrones. Primarily, the one most people know him from is the Battle of Blackwater or whatever, where they're shooting the wildfire. Basically, the people are defending a castle and they're shooting napalm at boats, and the boats are putting a siege on this castle. It's pretty amazing. So yeah, he directed that. He's directed a lot of TV. Most of his stuff recently, like I think his last five films have an average of less than five on IMDb. Um, so yeah, I don't know what's going on with him, but he's very talented, awesome filmmaker. But he seems to be dipping down. I see he did a lot of Westworld. He must have had some sort of overall deal with HBO. So here these folks are in this tent out camping. It starts off, and they get attacked in the tent. Um, and obviously it's a werewolf attacking them. That's the thing with werewolf movies. Like all movies, I say that they try to tell you this whole thing where there's only seven stories that have ever been told. And all movies are one of these seven stories. To me, there's the title, bang, dog soldiers. All right, sorry to interrupt myself there, but that was pretty awesome. 2 hours earlier, North Wales, we get to see the story unfold. Very grainy, this copy. Um, yeah, not a great transfer, not like super pretty HD or nothing, but that's part of the charm of this. It's got you know, I mentioned last night I like my horror movies either grimy or pretty, and this has got kind of a grimy look to it. I keep bumping into my microphone. I'm struggling tonight, guys. Woo. Um, yeah, most werewolf movies they going back to the whole there's only seven stories thing. Uh, but to me, there's only two stories. Either hero goes on a journey or stranger comes to town. And almost all werewolf movies are stranger comes to town. Someone's minding their own business and a werewolf shows up and bites them, and we got to deal with this whole werewolf problem. And then eventually we have to kill the poor person that turned into a werewolf or whatever, and it's very sad. Oh, it's a tragedy. Um, This one is hero goes on a journey. These people are out, doing their soldier antics on their training mission, and they bump into these werewolves, and so they go looking for adventure, and they end up finding it the wrong kind. Um, let's see. Bones talking about his haircut. Yeah, like I said, with these werewolf movies, a lot of them aren't good. Um, they're not. I don't know. With werewolf movies in general, it's a fun subgenre, and it's one of the ones I like one of the most. But the heyday seemed to be like the early 1980s when you got American Werewolf in London, The Howling, and Wolfen, and then shortly after that was Silver Bullet. That was kind of the heyday of your werewolf movies. Going back to that, it's either the Hammer stuff or the Universal Monster stuff. Um, each of those are obviously they got their own audience and different audiences than modern audiences. But this one is it puts a nice twist on it. It falls in between traditional werewolf stuff and kind of underworld stuff. It's heavy on the action. It's fun and interesting because of the soldier stuff and the machine guns and all this other stuff. But it's also, it's a werewolf movie. Also, this one is one of the last good practical effects movie. Like I said, it was made very cheaply. So it's all practical. There's no CGI. I mean, there might be one or two little things here or there, but overall, the werewolves are practical effects. The stuff being done and it is all done. It's somebody made a mask or they made latex. They didn't have a computer do it for them. So here we see these soldiers, arguing out in the woods. It's been jumping around in time. Um, You'll have to pardon me. This toast Mr. Night Owl made me is looking delicious. And like I said, did it have a growling stomach? Um, what is your favorite werewolf movie? Let me know in the chat or the comments. I'm an American Werewolf in London guy, followed by probably Silver Bullet, maybe, yeah, probably, and then this is right there. Um, Bad Moon is pretty good. I enjoy Bad Moon. The Howling, we watched it a few months ago during Halloween time, and it just let me down a little bit. It didn't stand up to me the way something like American Werewolf in London does. All right, so now we're 4 weeks later, and we got this helicopter shot coming over this mountain. Um, so basically, we're establishing the area that we're headed to, where this damn werewolf outbreak is happened. Hmm, lots better. Last night I got pranked live on air for April Fool's Day, and now I'm eating toast on air. Pardon me, jelly on my ham. And this has also turned into a what's it called, mukbang now. I'll try not to get too close to the microphone while I chew. It's gross. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah, that's better. Sorry about that. I like all this though. This gives me First Blood vibes. Even though this was made in what 2002 or something, um, it looks like it was made early 80s. It's got that same not polished look. Last night we watched April Fool's Day on April 1st. As now we're watching a werewolf on movie on the full moon. I like to keep it simple here, folks. So we were watching April Fool's Day, and we were talking about It and Scream, which I had watched previously on the live stream before that. You can find all these live streams on your favorite podcast provider, Spotify. Jeez, man, the mouth not mouthing again. Spotify, Apple Music, Audible, et cetera, are the main place to watch them and see them live and participate in the chat and ask me questions and be part of the crew here with the Night Owls is on YouTube at Night Owl Movie Talk, and you can find all the back catalog of these live streams. But as I was saying, these live streams that we've been having the last few nights here, or the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the difference between a glossy movie and sort of a DIY punk looking movie. I like the grain, I like the grit. But when a movie is supposed to be pretty, that's how I also want it to look. Steven Spielberg is a very pretty filmmaker. All his movies look gorgeous. But when I watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I want grit on the film. I want things to feel dirty. I want things to feel grainy and like somebody shot it with a camera almost documentary style. And this definitely has that. Neil Marshall's one of his other movies. Like I said, he did The Descent. That's a lot of people love The Descent. We need to do that on the show sometime. That's a pretty amazing movie. The Descent is also another movie where he's out tromping around in the woods. A lot of movies take place in the woods. It's a good place, a good setting for movies because you don't have to have as many permits, and you don't have to like do things like try to stop traffic and all the other trouble that comes with being around people and in cities. If you go out to the woods, you go out to the desert. It's a little bit looser filmmaking. Sorry, I'm getting caught watching this one. This is one I watched when it first came out on DVD. At the theater, it didn't really do much for me. I remember seeing a trailer for it, but it wasn't playing at all the big cinemas. And if it was, it would be like in one of the smaller little teeny theaters. Um, so when it came out on home video, I checked it out, and then later on it would be on cable bouncing around. So I've only seen this one 4 or 5 times. I own the DVD, but I haven't watched it in a while. This one's probably about a good 10 years since I've seen it. So even though I'm familiar with it, just watching it now, you always go back and see new things and, appreciate styles with new eyes and stuff. That's how, like I was mentioning, April Fool's Day last night. That's one I'd watched so many times before the age of 20. But then since then, I probably haven't seen that movie, or if I have, maybe once or something, just because I was flipping by and was like, oh, yeah, this movie. It's always nice to go back and revisit stuff. I always say you can't really appreciate a movie the first time. Like the first time you watch it, it's just the ride of the movie. The writer really is in control on that trip. You follow the story, you're trying to figure things out. Who's this guy? Who's that woman? Oh, that's his kid. Oh, their kid's adopted. Okay, whatever, right? You just following the story. So by the second time you watch it, that's when you appreciate how the camera moved, or, oh, that's a really cool shot, the way the music started up, the when he walked into the room, and that the other departments of the filmmaking aspect get to show up on the second viewing. And then that's when you really get to think about the movie and then the themes and some of the stuff that the director and the writer and the big picture was trying to convey. But yeah, that first time you're burdened by the plot. You have to follow what's going along, so you don't totally get to enjoy the work of the cinematographer and the work of the costume department and stuff. Like right now, for a cheap movie, all this looks really cool with them in the military gear. Like I say, it reminds me of First Blood or Southern Comfort. If you've ever seen Southern Comfort, that's kind of an awesome one. A little bit of Uncommon Valor. You seen that one? These are all fantastic cult classic sort of army group movies. Red Dawn, a little bit of Red Dawn going on. Red Dawn's fantastic. We need to watch that on the channel sometime. The original with Patrick Swayze and all them, not the updated one. I don't think I've even seen the updated one. The Who is it? Thor? Is Thor saving us? That's a pretty nice shot. For a movie with a low budget, that's what I always look for. Is okay. You had very limited resources. What did you do with it? So going out here again, the Scottish Highlands, there's a yak. How many movies got a yak? That was pretty cool. Speaking of yak, I'm gonna eat a little bit more of this food, and I hope it's not gross sounding to you guys. And I hope you don't yak. I never realized how much of this was outside. Like, I recall they get settled down in the cabin, the house, whatever, and that's where most of the action is, and that's where the story picks up and it really starts hitting. But these dudes out here, camping in the wilderness and stuff, I didn't realize we were at the 12-minute mark. So we've had one werewolf attack in the first 12 minutes. So we're probably overdue for one. This one's an hour and 32 minutes. So, oh, wait a minute. No, it's an hour and 44 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. But there's an hour and 32 left. I didn't realize Amazon did the countdown. It's part of the problem with these streaming services. All of their little interfaces are just a little bit different because obviously, each corporation isn't going to work with each other to try to get things uniform. So, does somebody have the little window that pops up when you fast forward or slow down? Doesn't it? If I press fast forward, is it just going to jump 10 seconds, or is it going to start going times two, times five, times what? You know what I mean? Each one's an adventure. I'm relearning on the fly every time out. The streaming world's a weird world. It's a bizarre combination of cable and on demand. Like it's a you know the movies would be on Cinemax or whatever, and then later on, down the road, it would be on the movie channel or whatever. They'd bounce around on cable, and you would see, then later on they'd show up on like TBS or TNT or something, and you would see them on the various cable channels. The people buying the property, renting it, and showing it for their channel. And that's the same hustle with streaming. It's like, oh, it was on Tubi last month, but this month it's on Paramount Plus, but next month it'll be on Prime. One of the more interesting ones was to watch, I believe HBO Max is the owner of Trick or Treat. The Warner Brothers people own the Trick or Treat. So Trick or Treat bounces around to different streaming companies, but then near Halloween time, it's always back to its home at HBO because they know that's when people are going to watch it so they can get the most bang for their buck on the property they own. All of it's been an interesting ride to see the transition of digital. The analog space was always kind of awesome. You wanted a movie, you went to the video store, they didn't have it. Damn, can you order it? Yeah, but you got to buy it. It's $80. Oh, no thanks. I guess I'll try to go check another video store and hopefully they'll have some holy grail movie I'm looking for. A lot of the strength of also of a poor movie or cheap movies, low budget movies. This has one of the better things they do too is you got to have good actors. That the people are in it are able to hold the screen by just being good at their acting, then you don't have to have that much money. But it's when the people who are on there don't really have anything believable or interesting or captivating to say that you got to have like meteors crashing into stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, a meteor crashing into stuff always spices up the party, but not always. Sometimes it's nice to just have Christmas without a meteor crashing into the kitchen. What am I talking about? um I don't know. But I am watching Dog Soldiers. It is currently 1:53 in the morning in Tampa, Florida. I'm doing the rare back to back, but like I say, yesterday was April Fool's Day, so I like to do stuff for holidays. I'm a big movie person. Like I get a movie in my head for whatever reason, and then that's a movie I want to watch that night. That's part of the reason I do a lot of pop-up shows instead of like advertising a week or two in advance. Like, oh, on this day I'm going to watch this movie. It's like because I want to be in the mood to watch it for whatever reason. You know, uh, Something will trigger a memory, and then I want to see that movie again, or um, like I say, tonight's a full moon, so it's like I'm in the mood to watch a werewolf movie. I had a few new ones picked out that I wanted to check out that I haven't seen, but with you guys, I for sure wanted to watch one I'd seen before. Um, my list to check out right now is Ma. You ever seen Ma? That's apparently one from the 80s where a dude's mother gets turned into a werewolf. I'm interested in that. I'm sure there's a lot of like Freudian stuff in there or whatever. Um, Also, I watched one the other night. Oh God, what was it called? Oh, was it just called Werewolves? I don't know. Frank Grillo and the whole world gets infected by a werewolf virus, and then the full moon comes and everybody's panicking because they're afraid everyone's going to turn into a werewolf again. And they have basically a big showdown in the street with all these werewolves. A lot of the special effects were awful. At the very end, the some of the shots of the werewolf just like straight up looked like Halloween costumes or paper mache nonsense. Um, what was it? Werewolves Among Us, I think it's called. I watched that one once again a little bit. That's a fun comedy werewolf one. I was thinking about doing that tonight. Also, I've mentioned several times during different streams I've done here about I think it's called The Beast Must Die. It's a werewolf at a dinner party movie. I often struggle remembering the name of it. My man Patrick Have Cheetah Will View or Have Cheetah Will View says saves my butt on it every time. See, I think it's Have Cheetah Will Travel, and then his show is Have Cheetah Will View. See, that's what happens with the late at night stuff, man. My brain gets fried. I'm dumb. Oh, Echo's back. He must have checked his hair. LOL, men having short hair is the best thing to do. Right? several times I keep thinking at my age, this is all just going to fall out at any point. It's already turned gray and white and whatnot. So several times I'm like, I'll let my hair grow out. And when it grows out, I realize, oh, that's right. The reason I never wear my hair long is because it looks awful. Like I don't have pretty hair. Uh, no matter what products or shampoo or whatever I use, it's like, nah, my hair is very thick and well, looks like piano wire. So I fall into the same trap of I better grow it out before it falls out. And then I realize, oh, I look awful like that. But I like the werewolf look for a little bit, where I got the full beard and the full hair. I just look kind of just furry. Look like Sweetums from the Muppet Babies or Muppets in general. So yeah, these cats are out here in the woods. They're still yammering and doing soldier camaraderie stuff. We're just building the interpersonal relationships with the soldiers right now. It's kind of a character study more than anything. A lot of dudes sitting around a campfire talking. Last werewolf was attack was approximately 15 minutes ago. Yeah, probably 15 to 16 minutes ago. So we're overdue for someone to get mauled here any second. And yes, Echo, I agree. Short hair is awesome. That's why I recently cut mine back again. I live where it's hot, man, and it sucks. Every time I go out and I try to have my beard a little bit longer or anything, and I just start sweating, I feel gross and whatnot. So I try to keep it tight. I saw the trailer for the one called Thrash. It is about a bad storm hitting a town and causing flooding. However, to make things worse, the sharks show up and attacking people. There another movie that was like that? Or is that the one where the hurricane hit and then the alligator showed up? I could swear there's one where like a town gets destroyed by like whatever flooding and bad storms and the sharks show up, but I don't know. A lot of these movies run together in my head. A lot floating around the old duder's head, as I often say. Hey, we're getting werewolf whip vision. They went to black and white for to do the point of view of the werewolf. Recently, the Wolfman. That's another one I watched. It's not bad. It's not great. I wouldn't tell people you got to see Wolfman with Julia Garner, but it's if you're a werewolf person like I am, it's decent. Like this shot is out of focus, or that transfer is terrible, or something. Like yeah, this overall presentation is mediocre. On the one on Amazon Prime right now. Um, where was I? Oh, the Wolfman with Julia Garner. In that one, the key to that whole movie is they go to werewolf vision and werewolf sound a little bit, and you get kind of a feeling of what the dude transforming into the wolf sees, and sort of the only heat pulses and stuff. It's pretty cool. It adds a little something to the werewolf lore, and it that's probably the highlight of that movie. That's one of the main things I remember. That and Ruth from Ozark is in the werewolf movie. Yeah, this is total like Southern comfort right here. Just these dudes traipsing around in the woods, waiting for them to get settled in so they can get attacked by werewolves. How many times have I said that sentence? I do remember one about the bad storm that hits this causing flood in the police station and had to deal with the flooding and the gators. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of too, I think. Um, I don't know. There's so many shark movies in the world. I can't believe how many shark movies there are. I mean, it goes to show you Jaws is that popular and that like resonant with people that you can just make a shark movie and it's like, well, I like Jaws, I guess I'll give this a try. Um, but in general, sorry, look at me holding toast off the side of the screen, like what? Um, but like I don't know, in the early 2000s, I saw well, early 2000s, early 2020s, I saw a list of like the top 100 worst shark movies. It's been 6 years since then. I've seen a ton of new ones that were never on that list have come out. So we're what, several hundred bad shark movies out there? There's a handful of good ones. What's your favorite shark movie? Obviously, Jaws is one, but what, Deep Blue Sea 2? Is that your other one? Was it 40 meters down? Something like that? The Meg? You like the Meg? Oh, crap. I'm chewing into the microphone again. I'm sorry. For you freaks out there, I hope you dug that. For the rest of you, I apologize. That was gross. I got caught watching this. Finally, something has happened. We're starting very slow on this, and even though there was a werewolf mauling to get us going, now we've had these soldiers traipsing around the woods, and they've finally stumbled onto a bunch of like intestines and things all over the place. I'm assuming this is where this tent got destroyed. But yeah, there's blood everywhere. There's body parts just strewn about. And the smart ones, the soldiers who know what's up, they immediately got their guns out. Good for them. What's your favorite werewolf transformation scene? It's the one from American Werewolf in London. Thank you, Echo. I appreciate that, buddy. That's a good topic to talk about. Mine is also the American Werewolf in London one. Another good one is the one in Trick or Treat, where what's her name, Sookie, turns into a werewolf. There's a handful of really good ones out there. The key is either practical effects are the best, obviously, and then CGI. It's really hard not to make it look laughably cartoonish. Um, most people say The Howling is their favorite one. They think that's the key. Like American Werewolf in London's probably a better movie. It's funnier, more interesting, whatever. But the key to The Howling is that it has that great transformation scene. And when I watched it recently, the one in The Howling takes too long. It's weird. Um, like a lot of it, they cut back to the same scene over and over. Like it really needs to be tighter edited. And I would have gone with maybe a little bit more shadow and mystery in some of the shots of those like bubbling faces. The what's his name, Robert Picard or Picardo, whatever. Uh, oh, buddy, when he's changing like that, it's not as great as I remembered when I was a little kid. Um, when I watched the original Lon Chaney Wolfman. That was one of the first ones I watched for a full moon here on this channel. I did that, and Silver Bullet as a double feature. Silver Bullet's a decent transformation, mediocre. One of the more memorable ones. Um, when I did the Lon Chaney one, I realized, well, how terrible it is. That's all just like dissolves and stuff. It's laughably bad. But in its own way, it's charming. It's like the same, how King Kong being claymation or whatever. It's that same feeling of, oh, look at him trying. It's awesome. Um, but yeah, it still to this day, I think what is American Werewolf in London, 81 or whatever, a movie from 81 is still the king of getting this werewolf switch over thing correct. Pardon me, geez. Um, so him looking at his hand and watching it grow, and him, seeing the beak come out of his face and all that. That's pretty damn awesome. Uh, it's a really good one. A lot of folks talk about, and it's underrated. Is Michael Jackson's Thriller. That's a pretty damn good werewolf transformation. Like I like that one a lot. That one does well. Um, also, like I say, the CGI problem with the modern movies is real bad. Like so, the underworld transformations all look very like Gumby. Like everything looks lava lampish. Jaws is easy to pick, but if I had to think about it, Deep Blue Sea is a very good one. I have to go with bad CGI sharks because of how much fun I had watching it. That's actually what I was thinking about when I was talking about all the different shark movies that were bad that were floating around there. In my mind, I was thinking about bad CGI sharks. For those who aren't familiar with that one, that's like the some guy's making a home movie or a low budget feature or whatever, and he's got bad CGI sharks in his movie on his computer, and they escape from the computer. So bad CGI sharks are loose in like the real world, terrorizing people. It's obviously like a parody type, not taking itself seriously movie, but it's a good way to have no money and do something fun and interesting. It's better than Birdemic. Once again, Birdemic though, that's part of the charm. It's like look at them trying. They didn't know how to do it, but they were trying. God love them. Uh, yeah, that's a good question. In the debate of what is your favorite shark movie, Jaws is just too easy to pick, right? But that's just because it's Jaws, right? That's the thing with Jaws. It's perfect. But the second best shark movie, that's where the discussion begins. You know, uh, and then how much leeway do we allow in this discussion? Like, does Orca the whale can he get an honorary entry into this shark movie discussion? And if we go that far, can we go other like is Piranha part of the shark movie discussion, or do we keep it strictly sharks? Yeah, I would go strictly sharks because we got too much. We can't let outside folks come in. So I'm sorry, Orca, you're out. Well, anyways, these soldiers have pretty much examined the werewolf destruction and blood and gore and whatnot. Now they're like most soldiers would do in this situation. They're running away, run away. Part of the charm of this too, and when you read the reviews of it, is the dark humor. There's a lot of good dialogue, a lot of funny reactions. Um, the real charm, of course, is just werewolf soldier people. They were machine guns and stuff, but they're werewolves. It's the same with what's it called? The damn zombies in the ice. Something Dawn, Dead Dawn. Something from whatever. When you got zombies in the snow as soldiers and they're Nazis, it's like, okay, so you've just piled on so much here. You've got my interest. Did they make a second dog soldiers? I don't know. He says you could talk about Orca since it's one of the Jaws clones. See, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You were on with that on that same discussion. That's what I mean. You might have to just keep it just sharks because there's so many bad sharks out there. When I heard they had Amityville shark, I was like, I'm not even sure that makes sense. Um, Echo, my wife from the other room, says that there's nothing wrong with a little ASMR. She appreciates me eating, and I appreciate you making something for me, so I'm not sitting here growling. Although it does add to the werewolf effect, right? If I'm all sitting here like, "Roar," then as the show gets on, I get progressively angry and more like grumpy during the full moon. I think it adds to the werewolf lore. Oh, we got werewolf vision again. This dude's getting chased through the woods. We're still not to the cabin. I remember that's the when I think of this movie, that's the stuff I think of. Them at night, settled into the cabin, the werewolves attacking, and all of it that goes along with it. It's kind of fun to see the soldiers run away like cowards, so it's fun. He says, part of what makes the transformation scene from American Werewolf in London is so good, how the actor reacts during turning into a werewolf for the first time. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think David, what's his name, David Naughton, dude, his reaction to the hand, the way it grows and stuff, and then, um, just his terror of I can't believe this is happening to me. And then I like the little twist that it's more of like a bear wolf looking kind of thing instead of like a traditional wolf man walking on its hind legs. Um, I said we'd also talk about that. One of the discussions with this is because the title is Dog Soldiers. Um, there's a thing that a lot of people know about. I'm very familiar with our friend 59 Survivor of VHS, who floats around here sometimes. He's very familiar with fans of cryptids or understand. There's something called dog people, or specifically the dog man. Um, that lurks around in various places in the world. I used to live in Wisconsin, an area where was very famous for dogman sightings. And the dogman is very much not a werewolf. It's not something that transforms during the full moon. It's not a human at any other point. It's a thing like a Bigfoot or something, except it's a dog person. The Michigan, Wisconsin, a few other places. There's also it's all that lore is all throughout history. The Anubis is the Egyptian thing you see with the dude with the dog head. Um, there's imagery, all sorts of like South American stuff with like humans with dog heads and everything. So the concept of the dog people has been around forever. So there's a thing that this isn't necessarily a werewolf. This is a dog people movie, and I think that's just like a clever take on the title. Like um, dog soldiers. It's almost like Reservoir Dogs or something. It's supposed to be like these guys are gritty and tough and they're dog soldiers, but it also works as these damn werewolf wolf soldier guys are attacking. But that was a cool little cutaway shot there. Oh, buddy's running through the woods. It's dark. We can't see much. It's a high contrast, real dark. Probably a little bit of day for night going on. But now we're cut to the black and white werewolf vision I talk about. But there was a quick, like, sort of flash of light where we saw a silhouette of a werewolf, and it looked really good. There was another one. Yeah, they're doing a real good job. The classic horror movie move. People have known it forever. They discovered it early on in filmmaking. Don't show us the monster, especially not until the end. Unless your monster's so amazing, you have to show it to us. Like, check out what we did here. But other than that, keep it in the shadows. Let my imagination fill in the gaps for you. There's most likely you're going to have some sort of mistakes. It's not going to look quite right. But if you keep it in the shadows, keep it hidden, my imagination will fix all that for you. So they're doing a good job of that here. We still haven't gotten a good look at the wolves, the dogs, whatever discussion. Let me know in the comments of the chat if you've ever had if you have a thoughts on the is this a werewolf movie or is this a dogman movie? Um, I definitely consider this part of the werewolf lore because part of it is the transformation, the passing the curse on. The whole difference between a dogman and a werewolf is that the dogman is a living thing, like like I say, like a Bigfoot. It goes somewhere and sleeps and then gets back out and does dogman stuff. It doesn't turn into a person and go sell insurance. That'd be awesome. I'll watch that movie. When me and Mrs. Night Owl met, actually, I was out researching the Dog Man for a documentary I wanted to do about it. And I checked into a hotel after a long day of traipsing around the woods looking for a 6 foot tall walking dog. And needless to say, a beautiful woman with a good sense of humor and a welcoming way about her was hit the spot perfectly, and I fell in love instantly. And here we are waiting on our second baby. Shout out to you, my love. If you're still watching from the other room, you're rather amazing. I like how I give you a big shout out of how great you are as these soldiers are getting attacked in a jeep by a werewolf. It's like, honey, I love you. I hope these soldiers. Oh, no, never mind. They cut the werewolf's arm off. They're going to be okay. Um, didn't they make a second Dog Soldiers? That's right. I was going to get to that point, and I should also probably in between chew on my food. So, no, I guess not. I was under the impression they did as well. I assumed, like a lot of successful movies, there's usually a sequel that comes out, even if it's direct or red box or whatever. Um, in this one, I imagined that they did. What do you call it? Mandela effect. But apparently, no. Somewhere around 2002, they announced there would be a sequel, Dog Soldiers Fresh Meat. And then they'd lined up someone else to direct it besides Neil Marshall. That fell through. Then later on, they made like a comic book series of this or something. And then when the comic book series marketing stuff was going on, they had mentioned that that movie would be coming, and that was like 2014 or something. And then in one of the commentary tracks that they did, I think Shout Factories or whatever, Neil Marshall said any of the plans for any sequels are all currently shelved. So to my knowledge, there is no Dog Soldiers 2 floating around. Got a little action scene here. They're driving through the woods all fast, trying to get away from these werewolves. They've picked up the zoologist now. It was just the soldiers; it was the dudes. It was very the thing. Part of the charm of it was these camaraderie of guys, and now we're going to introduce this zoologist, and she's going to be like, "You're all idiots," because they are all idiots. Here, a scene full of clips. It has Mario Van Peebles. It's about cops using a chemical that gives them werewolf powers to fight crime. There's another one I think you've just triggered a flashback memory for. I don't recall ever watching that, but that plot sounds familiar to me. And then when you say it, it's like I think that's one I flip through and stop, and you're like, "Oh, what's Mario Van Peebles up to?" Because I like Mario. I'm a big New Jack City fan and stuff. So I see Mario, and I'm watching it for a little bit. So that does sound familiar to me. That like I've actually seen bits and pieces of it. Um, but as of now, I won't say I've seen it. Full Eclipse, huh? Um, I watched a real cheap one called Caged on Netflix a while ago. That one's, I think it's called Caged, or is it Uncaged? Anyways, a real low budget. Looks like it was shot with an iPhone, but the werewolf transformations weren't bad. Um, for super low budget, not bad. I'll give it its due. Um, Hey, Stacy's here. Neil Marshall directed some of the NBC show that Matt Frewer was on when they gave time to find criminals. He's done a bunch of TV. When I looked up to see what was going on with my man, because I had mentioned it earlier, he does The Descent, and did a couple episodes of Game of Thrones. He did Doomsday. I'm a big Doomsday fan. We'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, he did a whole bunch of TV, some episodes of Westworld and a variety of other things. And then most of his features that he's done since doing TV have all been very poorly received. Like they all have low critical responses and stuff. So, yeah, I don't really know what his deal is. Every time I would see his name pop up at the beginning of Game of Thrones for director, I would be excited, like, "Oh, it's going to be a good one." Doomsday, he did. I'm a big fan of because it's a bunch of things I like. It's basically Snake Plissken and Mad Max, right? We got that whole thing, a little bit of Bike Boy or whatever it's called, Turbo Kid. Um, it's got that whole like futuristic after the post-apocalyptic thing, and then uh, sorry, they cut to they had the dog, a real dog, and I thought that was an actual werewolf. I was like, that's an amazing looking werewolf. Oh no, it's an actual dog. I'm stupid. Um, Yeah, Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall, his career has kind of dripped off, and I wondered why. I don't know what's going on with him. If he's just sort of fizzled out, or if he's hard to work with or what, but most of his stuff hasn't been received well. I know he did kind of a Kill Bill ripoff type thing. Um, Doomsday, that's what I was talking about too. Um, I love it because it's Mad Max and Escape from New York mixed, but instead of doing like, hey, let's do Escape from New York, but make Snake Plissken a woman, they're like, no, let's just write a whole new story, a whole new character, build up a setting, do something fun and different instead of just trying to like take something old and just do a gender swap and make it dumb. So Doomsday, I'm a big fan of. I like a lot about it. That's one I wanted to see in the theater, and because I figured it would be better big screen spectacle. But I've only seen that one on the small screen. But always enjoyable. I think it was Time something. Oh, the one where he's trying to the NBC show with Matt Fuhr, where they try to find people and criminals. Maybe. I looked up. They did announce a sequel called Dog Soldiers: Fresh Meat with a release date of 2014, but was never made. Oh, thank you. Echo with the more concise explanation of what I was rambling about there. What werewolf would be your pal? Probably the werewolf in Monster Squad. Uh, because he's troubled by it. Like he hates being a werewolf. Um, Also, same with Josh Hartnett in Penny Dreadful. That's a good werewolf. He seems like he'd be cool for like 20 days a month. You hang out and party and stuff, and then like I'll see y'all in like 10 days or whatever. Josh Hartnett. Um, what else? What other werewolves would be my pal? I could say the cheap answer and be like the old girls from Trick or Treat, the seductress werewolves. It's like no, they scare me. Um, Lon Chaney, I'd kick it with Lon Chaney Jr. Me and Larry Talbot hanging out, drinking in an English pub, talking about what's he going to do when he changes. That's a fun ride. I would not be friends with that preacher from Silver Bullet. No way. Um, I don't know, but let me know in the chat or the comments who would you like to be pals with? Oh, never mind. I changed my mind. This is so easy. It's Michael J. Fox from Teen Wolf, right? Because he could drive him around, he'd do a handstand on your car. He could get a keg of beer. So yeah, never mind. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. It's Michael J. Fox, obviously. I was catching up on American Culinary Cup. Padma Lakshmi is power hungry. That was all gibberish to me. I'm sorry. Full Eclipse makes me think of where Wolverine because the cops have bone claws that come out of their hands like Wolverine claws. Now, see, there's another question though. When a traditional monster gets its lore changed up, like, oh, they're vampires, but they fly or whatever, right? When they change up the lore a little bit, is it still the same thing? Like if it's vampires, but they also have Wolverine claws, is it still vampires? I mean, werewolves, but they got like the big Wolverine claws. Are they still technically their traditional werewolves? Because the wolf, I don't know. That I guess it's a new take. Because it does make sense for them to have like kind of a saber tooth look. I always felt like Sabretooth from the X-Men movies looks like a damn werewolf. So here we've settled into the cabin. I was finally waiting for them to. We were before, but I was sort of talking. So we've, roughly around the half hour mark of an hour and 40-minute movie. Um, Yeah, that sounds about right as far as pacing with the star or the story. An hour and 40, you figure, let's see, what's that? 60 plus, me doing math on the air is brutal. 100 minutes. So you go 50 minutes for a second act. You go, 25 minutes for the first. So yeah, they got to the cabin a little late as far as usual, like traditional story structure to start the second act. But, that the timing is worked. You could tell that the first act was taking a little long because I was complaining about how long they were just traipsing around the woods. So yeah, maybe you would trim a little bit of them talking and the bonding stuff in the woods to get to the second act a little faster. But other than that, things are going well. Somebody just threw up on somebody else's head, so that's always a good time. That means the party has started. That's a universal sign that the party is fully in full swing. Stacey says, "Hi, Anthony and Echo. Will be okay if Mount St. Helens erupt again, but nothing I can do. I hope I can access the conflict of that event if it transpires." Are you near Mount St. Helens? And I didn't realize it was getting ready to erupt again. No. I didn't know. Or are you talking about Echo near Mount St. Helens? See, I'm often confused. I'm trying to think about werewolf movies. Now I'm worried about everybody getting killed in a damn mountain volcano explosion. How are you looking for creatures up there? Did you look for almost find one? Yeah, I mean, I basically just wanted to. Wisconsin's weird, and especially one particular area. There's a lot of cryptid lore, and there's like a lizard man and a variety of other things. There's a bunch of Bigfoot sightings and stuff. So I had some stuff going on in my life where I just wanted to clear my head. So it was really an excuse more than just walk around, empty woods and old graveyards and stuff. But didn't find anything because I'm the type of person that believes in that. I'm more of a debunker, I guess. I often think there's a logical answer for everything. It's usually people are lying or they're bored or something. But in general, I like to investigate those things because I'm curious. If more than one person starts talking about it and it becomes a thing, and folks everywhere know about it, and they write books about it and everything, it's like, well, what is this? How did this become such a big deal? I'm curious now. I'm gonna go look for myself. Especially since I was right there, there are probably people all over the world who are curious about those stories from that part of the world, and was like, I wish I could go check it out. It's like, well, I'm right here. I will. No, didn't see anything. Most of the stories about people who see the dog man, they're driving down a road called Bray Road in Wisconsin, uh, and they see a giant dog man walking around in the cornfields. Uh, it's usually between 5 to 6 feet tall, walking on its hind legs. Most of them happen during the evening time or night, late at night. Once or twice, like in one occasion, a couple girls got chased through a cornfield by one and stuff. But I've been over in that cornfield where the girls got chased, and right next to it is a duck pond. And I have this theory that some of the dogman sightings are people in what's called a ghillie suit, which is like a suit you put on that looks like leaves and camouflage. It's not just a traditional, camouflage, pattern. It's like straight up leaves and everything. So if you lay down and sit still, you look like a mound of leaves. So if one of those is walking through a woods, it looks like a scary ass monster, to someone far away or to small children. So yeah, I mean, there will be reports of people I see it, I believe it, So I kind of researched all that, checked into the backstories of it, went to the different places where sightings had happened, tried to overlap, basically just did the X Files thing. I needed something else to think about other than the stuff that was on my mind, and I was like, you know what? Just standing in a snowy, empty cornfield looking for dog tracks sounds like a good time. And boy, am I right. What are you eating? I'm actually poorly eating toast. This is one of my favorite weird things I like to eat: toast with cream cheese and a little bit of jelly on top of it. Um, I was gonna have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I forgot. One night I woke up hungry and ended up finishing off the peanut butter. So Mrs. Night Owl was like, "Well, what would you like me to make you in a pinch?" I said, "You don't gotta make me nothing. You're pregnant. Go lay down." So instead, she handed me my plate of my favorite breakfast go-to. So there we see a werewolf lurking around out the window, and dude opens fire, classic cowboy movie style, shooting out the window. Um, I never noticed before how much the zoologist in this has a real Drew Barrymore feel. Actually, I'll leave this up while I eat to cover it up. Well, that's better. I keep bumping into the microphone stand tonight. I'm struggling, guys. Most of the times I have it set up a little bit different. There, let's do that. Let's see if this helps. There we go. Give me a little room here. There, my apologies. Um, Also, we were talking about werewolf movies in general earlier. I always got to mention Ginger Snaps. That's another one I've done commentary track for on the channel. That's a real highly underrated one. That's another one that falls into my favorite cult classic category. Uh, the transformation in that isn't bad. I like the slow transformation where she starts showing signs of becoming a werewolf before the full on transformation. Neil got in hot water after something with an actress, and then the Hellboy 2019 was an odd movie. Perlman Harbor a bit too much. Um, I saw he did that. I never saw the Hellboy remake or whatever. I wasn't actually. That's one of the few times I thought Del Toro missed. I wasn't a fan of the Hellboy films, but um, I could see him having some sort of issue because it looks. Yeah, I mean, like very promising. A lot of the reviews for this movie. This is his first feature, Dog Soldiers. Um, a lot of the reviews for this they mention like keep your eye on this dude. Like he's clearly got talent. And then like I mentioned, Doomsday and The Descent and a bunch of other stuff. It's like, oh, he clearly does have some pretty damn amazing talent. So I wondered if he was a problem in some way or another. Yes, Doomsday, Rona Mitra movie, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's basically Mad Max and Escape from New York mixed together. It's a post-apocalyptic thing. There was a bunch of them in the '80s after the success of Mad Max and Escape from New York. So this one just does the same thing. Instead of it being some cheapo Italian whatever, it's a cheapo British whatever. Um, but it's cool. It's got the usual bad guy kind of Darth Vader villain dude, and it's got a little pinch of like I say Turbo Kid in it. Um, Something interesting and different if you're a fan of Mad Max and Escape from New York, and if you're watching my channel, I imagine you are. It's worth checking out. I can explain what happened. Charlotte Kirk and she and the various castings of her and her producers that leveraged the dating for her roles was a problem. Neil is caught up from that. Oh wow, okay. Well, there you go. Charlotte Stacy always knows the good gossip. She always got the behind the scenes things. She's plugged in. It's my behind the scenes reporter. Band from Warner Brothers dealing under Sujihara and maybe can work with Abde and DeLuca, but Zaslav didn't comment or commit. New Paramount Warner Brothers will have new ideas, not biased against it. Okay, interesting. Psyched for Anthony as he's of 2021 as memoirs. Psyched to see some YouTube version exceptions too. Cool idea. I asked him about the rom coms the other day and he sent me cool voice watch Anthony. Great. Yeah, Anthony's a fun dude. I enjoy him a lot. I met him. Uh, the horror community is a fun community, and I'm glad Anthony's part of it. I met him through that, and I'm friends with him on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. So yeah, Anthony Chabot kicking off the show almost every time is part of the charm. By the time I'm done saying I'm done, it's late, I'm up high. Anthony's up way there, ready to let me know where he's at with what he's gonna see and where he's at in the memoirs. So fun, good, cuddly teddy bear of a man. I'm a fan. I'm over 3.5 hours from Helen, but if she blows again, we will get ash and shit here like we did the last time in 2008. Oh, okay. So yeah, you were worried about Echo. So I'm worried about Echo too. Echo's tough though. I saw the best movie this year so far, called She Dances. Great independent drama starring Steve Zahn, and whenever you can, really good one. Okay, I will maybe check that out. She Dances. Okay, that's an easy one to remember. Steve Zahn. What genre is it? A romantic comedy, huh? Independent drama? I have some of the ash from last time Helen erupted. Oh, really? You capture it in a little jar or something? Get some video of it. That's quality video of just snowing ash. Rewatch Student Bodies one with you and Gareth. Oh, you did? Yeah. Student Bodies is a strange one. I watched it when I was a kid and I didn't totally get it because it was so ahead of its time. It knew all the tropes before some of them even became tropes. Um, but yeah, I was afraid me and Gareth were both going to get canceled when I was acting like Melvin during the stream. So pardon me to anyone who I may have offended by that impersonation. Yikes. Um, but on the whole, Student Bodies is pretty awesome. I recommend you check the movie out, and then yeah, check out me and Gareth talking about it in the backlog of commentaries you can find at Night Owl Movie Talk on the in the commentaries playlist. Not the movie talk commentaries podcast list. That's strictly just me. But anytime I did some stuff with some other folks, a lot of stuff with Mr. Bones. Me and Mr. Bones have watched probably a good 25 movies together. Me and Gareth probably a good 10, 15. Me and Larry on my channel, Horror Cat Dad, we've probably watched a good 10, 15 things together. If you enjoy the stylings of me and Larry, a good thing to check out is the back catalog of Into House. We used to do a weekly show where he and I would sit down and talk about just what's been going on in the news lately with movies and stuff, what each of us have been watching. It's full of like movie reviews because, I watch a bunch of movies and he watches a bunch of movies. At one time, we did a live remote where he was at a horror con in Texas. What's it called? Frightmare, whatever, Texas Frightmare. Um, that's a fun show with a lot of cool stuff, and it's hard not to love Larry. The Horror Cat Dad's a hero to the community. So I mentioned the horror community. Horror Cat Dad's a key peg of it. Um, uh, So yeah, that's a awesome show. And I recently went through and redid all the thumbnails, and they all look like tattoos. So I did all the old thumbnails for Into House, but I changed them into like neck tattoos and shoulder tattoos and thigh tattoos and stuff. So the thumbnails are like super cool to me now. Um, so yeah, I recommend checking out that back catalog if you enjoy camaraderie between me and my dear friend, the horror cat dad. So this movie's the beats, I guess is what I'm kind of complaining about. It goes up and down. We're this right now. We got folks sitting around a table talking, and clearly, that's to let the tension out. You have a tension with the werewolves attack, and then you got to let the tension out before you can have more tension come back. It's until the very end. You can't really build tension on tension and tension. Um, so something will happen, then we're gonna have a little break. Expand, release, expand, release. So right now we're doing the kind of release thing. They've been attacked once by the werewolves, or well, a couple times now. The once in the car, and now over here in the cabin they're in. So now this is just more like talking. And like I said, this movie's known for its dark comedy. A lot of this is good dialogue. A lot of the best thing with British actors. This is Britism, racism with British people. Uh, British, they have the best actors. That's where drama was invented. The real drama, Shakespearean drama. Um, they're the best actors, always. It's annoying. I wish they would stop. But so pretty much anything from the UK is damn near going to be worth seeing. Um, all of our good actors are usually imported from there. Um, so this movie, it's got a bunch of awesome actors that people weren't really that aware of. Um, the main dude in this, he's in Game of Thrones later on. He plays the Onion King, Onion Knight, I think it is. Sir Davos. Mad Max clones. Yeah, yeah, there was a bunch of Mad Max clones. Mr. Bones says hi. Hello, welcome, Mr. Bones. Nice to see you. Boglins. Bones, you ever seen this movie before? Dog Soldiers? And what about The Descent? What are your thoughts on the two of those? And any of the folks in the chat, what are your thoughts on The Descent and Dog Soldiers? What would you name your Mad Max clone movie? Oh boy. Um, Diesel and Dust. Get the poster ready. It's Bones. He's alive. Well, it is Easter time. What's your favorite Easter movie? Put that in the chat or the comments. I don't know if I have a favorite Easter movie. Dead Snow is that damn Nazi one I was trying to think of. Sometimes my brain gets fried, man. That's the problem when you've seen thousands and thousands of movies. Titles start to blur together and things. So yeah, Dead Snow is what I was thinking of with the zombie Nazis. Watching Dog Soldiers 2. I haven't seen it in a while. Thanks. Yeah, it's worth checking out. Looking at it now, this transfer in digital, there's a lot of grain, a lot of grit to it. It doesn't blow up well. I imagine in the theater it probably didn't look too amazing. A lot of times, a lot of theaters probably got blamed for having dirty camera lenses, projector lenses. I mean, um, but for someone with their first feature film, it's the old thing. I've said it a bunch of times. The first movie, it's a kind of on you to show everybody else. You have to get out there, tell your story. It has to be good. You have to, show that you can do something with nothing. And then once you can do that, people want to give you something. Here, you made $2 million into $20 million. If I gave you $100 million, can you turn it into 2 billion? It's like, no, get out of here. Um, so the the first movie is always sort of um, look at me. You demonstrate your talent. You show a lot of your tricks. And then the second movie, after you've gotten a little money and you have a chance to be a director and people will do whatever you say. It's like, I need that light better. Instead of you climbing up a pole and fixing it, somebody else goes and fix it for you. So you get a chance to do your thing because you can just be the wizard that points and tells people what you want. And the second film is often a big one. This one obviously is his first film. People were like, he's going to be good, and then he did The Descent, and everybody's like, he is good. Um, that's stories over and over again. Guy Ritchie with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and then doing Snatch, or Tarantino with Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, or um, uh, uh, Christopher Nolan with The Following or whatever it's called, and then he did Memento right after it, and then The first movie, that's on the filmmaker. It's up to them to show the world what they can do. And then after they've established that they got talent and there's someone people want to give money to and someone who can get this done without help, then they want to give them help. And the second film is the one that often gets, the big acclaim. So basically, whatever my movie that follows up Diesel and Dust will be a Oscar bait type of thing. I have a question for the host. How do you make those badass thumbnails? Oh, stop. Um, yeah, that's all AI these days. Well, really, it's a pain in the ass because you would say, "Oh, well, it's AI. You're not doing anything anymore," and somehow it's like three times as much work, bro. I make my old traditional thumbnail where I go find art in at least for the ones like for these watch alongs. I go find the art, the 19 by 20 or 1920 by 1080 or 16 by 9 art, and add my logo, add watch party commentary, jazz it up a little bit with this or that, maybe put a border on it. And then I send it to AI and I say, hey, turn this into a neon sign on a brick wall. And then usually they'll mess it up and it'll be sort of funky and weird looking. I'll have to like talk it through it, like, hey, change the edges to, glowing bulbs. And then I have to, put it back into my editing software and upgrade it to a higher resolution because they always want to give you low resolution or mediocre resolution stuff. So it ends up being like three times as much work, but I like it way more. I like that the all my movies and reviews stuff is all looks like old movie posters, and then the commentary show is all neon signs, up late vibe, and then the old into houses are all tattoos. Those tattoos, like I said, is every time I look at them, I'm like, the AI killed it with that one. Um, but I have concerns about people doing AI with thumbnails. Like as soon as I did, I'm like, those are awesome. And then I see other people doing it, and I start looking, and it's like, okay, there's definitely an AI look. Like, I often tell it, make me a painted movie poster. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a rambling while we're getting to have a werewolf attack. The dudes are getting trapped and they're held back and they're caught in a room. The werewolves are pounded in through the. They've got a real like Night of the Living Dead vibe going. The windows are boarded up. The werewolves are punching through and they're attacking, they're blindly shooting. Part of the charm of this is it's also like aliens. We've got the soldiers fighting the werewolves. If you've got these uber off like super or antagonists, we need very competent and protagonists to fight them. So there's a little bit of aliens mixed in with your werewolf movie here. That's what I dig about it. Here's the first time we get to see a werewolf. It comes through the window and stands up in the light, and they're like super skinny and furry. They got like a mane. But once again, we didn't get a good enough look because of the silhouette of standing with light behind it. Um, Sorry, the movie took over, whatever the hell I was rambling about there. Oh yeah, the in the house, the AI stuff or whatever. Yeah, the AI look, I've noticed it more and more. The art that it makes, um, it looks similar across the line. I've seen other people's AI thumbnails, and they have a very similar look to the ones that mine are making. So, um, like any tool, there'll be a new wave. Somebody else will figure out the next level to talk to the AI and get more of what they want and stuff. But for the vibe of my channel and the things that I think people should get when they go to my channel, that feeling of, oh, this guy likes the classic retro vintage movies, the back when they had painted movie posters, Drew Struzan and all that stuff, and a big fan of up late vibe. Got my got all the something attention grabbing that also gives people a feeling of who I am and all that, yada yada. But yeah, I recommend messing with the AI. It's going to be the wave of the future, whether we like it or not. Um, a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, so I think the way to get ahead of that is probably to learn how to be a person who knows how to make AI work for them. You know, People always want to tell you it's immigrants going to steal your jobs. It's like, hell no, it always has been and always will be computers. If you need to be mad at anybody, be mad at a machine. That's who took your job, not some person who doesn't speak another language. Sorry, that's my anti-machine rant. Whenever anybody gets complaining about immigration and stuff, I'm like, you need to be worried about the automated checkouts at your grocery store, not about your gardener. So okay, we the werewolf attack is over now, and we've got a bunch of injured soldiers. Everybody's falling apart. The house is falling apart. Like I said, we're in a real like Night of the Living Dead situation where all these windows are boarded up, and they know they're not secure in here. I can't believe this zoologist has lived this long. Yeah, I don't know if it's this transfer or the original footage or what. A lot of this is just looks awful. It looks like it was shot with a potato. Like the clarity of the actors' faces, like in the wide shots with like four or five actors, a bunch of the actors' faces are kind of blurry and have like pixelated edges around their jaw lines and stuff. So it could just be whatever version Amazon leased, but it looks to me like whatever digital transfer this is pretty crappy. But thank you, Bones, for your lovely compliment about the makeover of my channel. You're a wonderful human being. Great one like Student Bodies, other comedy horror, Strange Behavior, Louise Fletcher and the Billy the Kid from the Bill and Ted Part One, horror comedy, The Mind Control Killers are in town. Fun one. Strange Behavior. I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't know. Louise Fletcher, huh? Interesting. Cousin Larry, exactly. Larry is Dalton in New Roadhouse. It'll be time not to be nice. Enjoy the show. Yeah, Larry makes everything better. He's good. He's such a nice, fun dude. Larry the figure guy. That's what I mean. He's a um he and I are a good combo because I find myself to be, I'm very opinionated and I say what I think, and I just expect that other people tell me what they think, and then because of that, they won't be offended. Larry's a very sweet, kind, like he'll listen to people, and he's very thoughtful. So we work together as sort of a sweet and sour sauce kind of thing. I'm salty, he's sugary. Whatever. 30 Plex that opened when I was young. Played a Neil Marshall movie. He wrote Killing Time. I saw that one. He Mad Dog Soldiers. He's good only to many films festivals. Hope he makes more. Yeah, like I say, he made. Oh God, what are the recent ones? Let's look it up. Did I just freeze? No, okay. Um, recently, he's done a bunch of shorts, and he was an executive producer on that as well. The Duchess. Are these all? Yeah, these are producer, director. That's what I'm looking for. Compulsion in 2024. That's a 3.6 on IMDb. Duchess in 2024, a 4.6. Duchess is apparently supposed to be like a Kill Bill type deal. It's a kind of a up tempo actiony deal. The Lair in 2022, a 4.6 on IMDb. The Reckoning, a 4.9 on IMDb. That Hellboy in 2019 that we were talking about, 5.3. Um, but other than that, he's done a bunch of TV and well, not TV, I shouldn't say terrestrial TV, but series. He did a couple episodes of Lost in Space, the Netflix remake. Westworld, I mentioned. He did one of the segments in Tales of Halloween, the anthology horror movie. I guess he did a couple episodes of Hannibal, a couple episodes of Constantine. I mentioned Game of Thrones, Black Sail. Centurion is the one I'm curious about. Curious about. It looks like a Gladiator ripoff, obviously, um, or in that same vein, I should say. That's how you get somebody to read it. It's like Gladiator, but because he makes such a gritty, like kind of hardcore, action, cool type style, it makes me think Centurion might be decent. And that one's a 6.3 on IMDb, so I guess it's better than the rest of the pack. Doomsday isn't even a 6 on IMDb. Um, but yeah, I recommend people check out Doomsday. That's a different weird one. I recommend people check out um, uh, his work on Game of Thrones, and then definitely The Descent. Yeah, I remember seeing The Descent 2. I don't remember much about it. I've been meaning to watch it again sometime. I thought it was decent. Pardon the pun, descent. But it didn't have the same vibe as the first one. Like whatever the first one had, the magic stew, the secret ingredient that made that taste just a little better. It wasn't quite there in part two, but I'd like to see it again. Let me know your thoughts on the descent in the chat or the comments. Let's hear. Hey, the greatest Brit is Ricky. Just ask Gareth; he'll back me up on that one. Ricky is pretty Ricky. Yeah, I mean, no, the greatest Brit is Gareth. Obviously, no, the greatest Brit is my 3MB three tag team partner, Pugwall. Shout out to Matt. The 30 plex openers I played when I watched the movie. Da, da, da. Seen them both and like them. Have you seen The Descent 2? Hey, look at Bones is right there. Critters 2 for Easter. You think I should watch it? Are you watching Critters 2 for Easter? Maybe we'll watch it together. Dark Maxwell Riders of Vengeance. Maybe Echo Bunny should appear this year. Echo Bunny is terrifying. Critters 2, Hungry Heifer Song, and Easter, perfect fit. Go hunt the eggs, play Hungry Heifer Song, and the Easter people rejoice. Yeah, me and Bones should maybe get together. Yeah, I would be down for that. Critters 2 with Bones. I need Bones on my channel. I've been on Bones' channel a bunch, but I need him to come here. We need to have a home game here. Should have used AI for my thumbnails, but I've never really used it. I have no idea what I'd be doing. That's why I say I kind of wanted to do it just to get ahead of the curve of understanding what it is. Um, the first couple times I used it about a year ago, I got decent results, but talking to it is hard. Explaining what you want specifically. Um, we talk about movie directors and stuff. That's kind of the key to that job is just making sure everybody knows specifically what you want, and without being so redundant, they tune you out. Managing the AI becomes difficult. A lot of times I have to just completely exit the chat and start over and what I'm telling it because it starts doing crazy shit. Like it'll make me I'll say make a zombie movie poster and it'll put all these zombies on. And I was like, okay, now use this same effect but make a werewolf poster and it'll have a werewolf getting attacked by zombies. And I was like, no, I didn't ask for that. I asked for a werewolf poster. Get rid of the zombies. And then it'll get rid of the zombies, but like one zombie arm will still be in there choking a werewolf. It's like, what the fuck? AI, it's the computer doesn't quite know stuff yet. It just basically it's gone through and soaked up all the knowledge, like Johnny Five and Short Circuit. It's gone through the internet. It's read all the books. It's read all our social media. I specifically log in and it sees my email address, then it goes through and reads all my social media and it learns who I am and sees a bunch of pictures of me and stuff. So it regurgitates knowledge. It's not actually thinking. But the times it has started to think for itself, that's pretty scary, right? Time to take another big bite of toast. And I'm back. So we're in still in the night scene there in the cabin. They don't have any electricity, so they've got a bunch of kerosene lamps, and it's got a real um. This is totally day for night. You can tell that this is sometimes when you're shooting a movie at night, you're not able to get everything you need while it's dark, or you're not able to light it well enough. So the way to solve that problem is to shoot it at the daytime and then use your editing equipment to make it extra dark. So you can kind of tell day for night because people look very blue. That's part of the reason I picked all this blue for what I'm doing here tonight. So they're out in the woods traipsing around. It's pretty clearly day for night. There, and I talked about day for night and ate toast. Boy, I am multitasking. But yeah, as far as AI goes, I recommend just learning about it. Mine is like built into the browser or whatever. You just click on it and it opens up 3 or 4 different ones. You can choose between Google Gemini and the Microsoft Copilot and whatever. And then you tell it you can do anything you want with it. I use it just for the art and the thumbnails because I'm not as good as an artist as the damn computer is, and I can't do it anywhere near as fast. Um, but there's been people who used AI to get the lottery numbers. You could probably sit there and have a 2 hour conversation with AI, ask it all the best tricks to double your YouTube, whatever, watch time, subscribers, whatever you're looking to do. Um, as a tool, it's kind of infinite because it's soaking up so much knowledge from everywhere. So that's what I mean. I kind of want to get ahead of it and at least be familiar with it. So later on, when AI is everywhere, I'm not like, now, what is this? I'm generally an early adapter on things, early adopter, whatever the proper term is, on technology things. Once it becomes monetarily feasible. Like when something's brand new, it's usually real expensive. The thing with AI is they want people to use it because, like I said, I give it my email address and then it goes through and looks over my entire YouTube page, watches all the videos, looks at my damn, Facebook and everything, and then it figures out who I am, and I end up feeding the machine a bunch of, free data. Um, It's the same hustle as social media. Here, you can have a free website to post all your stuff, but we're going to spy on it all and learn about you and market to the world off of what we learn by you telling us stuff. Um, so that's why AI is free. But most technology, when it first comes out, it's very expensive. You know, whatever the best car, the best 4K player, TV, whatever. But then as it's out for a minute, it gets cheaper and cheaper. So once things become affordable, I usually try to jump on them. So we're got to be wrapping it up because everybody here is just so beleaguered and beat down. We're at the 112, 113 mark, we'll say, and there's a half hour left. Um, right now, the Jeep is pulled up to the truck, and they were going to try to escape, but the werewolf attacked old buddy back in the Jeep up, and we just see blood splatter all over the inside of the windshield. Classic good murder stuff. You know, it's like we don't have the money to show a guy getting his head ripped off and the big Monty Python geyser of blood. Oh boy, that was pretty gross. Uh, so, so they just see the blood splatter all over the windshield. So the soldiers go out and they open up the Jeep and the door and the blood pours out of the car like it just falls out like lava, out from the passenger seat and the driver's seat and everything. And they see the werewolf in there just feasting on the dude's guts. And there's just blood and everything all over the werewolf's beard. Yeah, I gotta admit, the several times we've had a big werewolf event in this movie, it's been pretty spectacular. This is definitely a top five werewolf movie for me. Not quite ready to make it number one yet, but I'd probably say yeah, American Werewolf. Yes, it's definitely top five, maybe five or four. So now the zoologist, despite the fact that a bunch of people have been murdered and there's blood everywhere and she's trapped in a cabin being terrorized, she gonna play a little piano. You know, music. It helps the soul. I don't really know if putting on that white tank top was good. Don't you know what white means in a movie with blood? Don't stay away from white, old girl. This may have been a drastic, terrible decision on your part. Speaking of AI, though, one of the it happened last night. I showed it to Mrs. Night Owl. I redid an old review for Die Hard that I had done, talking about is it a Christmas movie or whatever. So I told the AI to take this thumbnail for this me Night Owl movie talking about Die Hard, and it made me and Bruce Willis. It fused us together like some Jeff Goldblum The Fly stuff. So when you look at it, it looks like Bruce Willis, but it also looks like me. It's a bizarro, like, I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'm still. You can see me sort of reeling after seeing it because when the computer spit it out, I'm like, wait a minute, that it's Bruce Willis with my hair and my eyebrows and my chin. Wait a minute, no, that's me. And it's like, no, that's Bruce Willis. And I was like, honey, come look at this. And she sits there, she's like, wow. It's like, I know, right? I don't know how to feel about this. I feel like one of us is going to grow fly wings and buzz off. So yeah, we're back on our Night of the Living Dead stuff with these guys. Every time they go outside, they got to come back in and hammer the door shut. They're straight, hateful eight at this point. They're locked in. All the lighting is coming from gaps outside the window, beams of light, as it were. But the crew is slowly dwindling down, and it's got this feeling of like they're just starting to get angry with each other, and they're arguing over who's going to go outside when and stuff. Set up some gang signs with your hands, and the Wolverines will see you and join. Snickety snickety, right? Have you ever tried being a slasher villain? What mask would you try? Raggedy Andy? That's a good one, right? You've been thinking about this. Let me see. Somebody hum the Jeopardy music while I think. Hmm. 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 I would probably have to do some sort of takeoff on the damn Guy Fawkes mask, but but that's what John Carver basically did. They already kind of beat me to the punch on that one. There's so much that's like clown imagery is scary, but that's overdone. Ghostface, a lot of people don't realize that that costume existed before Scream. Um, the Michael Myers mask, that's just a spray painted William Shatner mask. Um, the hockey mask, kind of iconic. I mentioned now that since the NHL players or the modern hockey players wear a totally different style helmet for goalie, Jason owns that look. That look isn't associated with hockey anymore. That look is associated with Jason. Um, a bunch of those 80s movies tried that one those like clear plastic masks that you buy at like the dollar store around Halloween time or whatever. They make your face look strange. They usually come with like a little bit of lipstick on them or something. Those are always creepy as hell to me. They look like good for a bank robbery. Um, what would I wear to be a slasher villain? That's a toughie. That's a toughie. Oh, maybe like a sports fan. You get the body paint and you get the like the big keg of beer or whatever. Maybe the hat with the two beer cans on it, and a little bottle. If I was out in the street and I saw some crazy sports fan coming at me, I'd be like, I need to get out of here. Yeah, old girl in this super ultra white wife insulter tank top, she is just asking for it. Like, doesn't she know she's in a movie where people are just getting covered in blood? Doesn't she know the rules? She does look a lot like Drew Barrymore, though. Every time they cut to her face, I'm like, haven't I seen you in other stuff? These parts toward the middle and then the self sacrifice, etc., really has an epic story in action. This one deserved larger audience then and now. Well, I mentioned one of the things that people talk about with it. I'm watching it muted, but with the subtitles along the bottom, the captions. Um, so in that version, I'm not getting as much of the dark comedy that I remember I've noticed before, and that people talk about in the reviews of it. A lot of the dialogue is rather sort of humorous and intelligent. Once again, British, um, but it should have it's gotten more of an audience than it did. The fact that it didn't make its money back at the box office on a less than $3 million budget or whatever, that's kind of crazy. That's a marketing thing to me more than anything. But as I said, this is also amateurish in a lot of its cinematography. They didn't have the camera stuff. They need a better camera or better lighting. So here, old buddy, the damn Sir Davos, he's been infected with the wolf virus, and he's got yellow eyes, and he's looking like Michael Jackson's Thriller. And he got the crazy hands, but this is good stuff though. He pops up, and we see him, and then he slides back down below the frame under the table, and then he pops back up, extra scary. Like it, we don't have to see the transformation, and it builds suspense. We, as Hitchcock says, we know the bomb is under the table, so it's extra scary for us. And when he stands up, that's the classic scene they often use when you Google this movie or something. You'll see screen caps of it. The giant werewolf just standing up all huge over the top of these soldiers with his arms all out, like, let's fight. And they're opening fire on them because that's what they're here to do. Like I said, this has got an aliens thing to it. Part of these soldiers are very, they're there to be capable. This girl in the white tank top, she's here to be Sigourney Weaver. Um, it's a thing we recognize, but at the same time, it's different because it's werewolves. And as I mentioned, when you give me soldiers fighting werewolves, you've upped the stakes because now I've got competent people fighting the protagonist, and it's not just or the antagonist. It's not just a slaughter. Most slasher movies, most monster movies, the humans are there just as chattel. They're there to get devoured by the villain. But in this, it's like, well, these soldiers they should be able to stand up for themselves. I guess it's important that they're trainees. It also helps them. It gives you plausibility that they might not be so awesome. But old buddy smashes the picture with the hammer, and that signifies the audience that the third act or that the big showdown's coming. Now they're doing a montage of them trying to find weapons. You could tell when he smashed the picture. I have the sound off, but I could hear the music cue up in my head of like, oh, we're about to find some stuff, silver bullet stuff, and all that. And it's yeah, 20 minutes left. There you go. Sounds nice, but how do you do it when you Google enter? Eyes, minds, and no makes this a neon sign stealing your look. Just use it to see it work, and it says it sounds like a cool project. Here's what though might look like, but it isn't doing it. That's what I mean. The hardest part about it is just trying to teach it who you are and what you're doing and what you want from it. It's good to upload stuff so it has references. I was wondering if even if you could like sketch out stuff, like okay, I want the Night Owl Movie Talk logo in the middle, and I want some movie marquees on the side, and then I just open up the Microsoft Paint and draw a circle and draw some X's on the or some rectangles on each side of it, and then upload that and be like, put it like this. Like I think you can kind of work with it. I don't know. You got to just keep poking at it and poking at it, and then when it gives you something you don't like, you say, "Okay, I like what you did here, but change it. It needs more neon lights, or it needs like a monster in the background, or whatever." Um, I've noticed it learns your speech patterns too. Like I'm always very polite with it. That's like my way. I whenever I ask it for something, I almost always say please. And whenever it does a really good job and it does, it spits out something that I'm happy with, I'll be like, thank you. I appreciate what you did here. And it'll like tell me like, yo, you're welcome, Don. I like all your ideas. You have a really good project here. Like it's nice to me back. It's kind of interesting. Like, oh, AI, Don Cade. Um, You tell it prompts, it forgets sometimes, but it keeps telling you what you want to. It responds. It wants money though. Yeah, it does. It does not complete Stacy though, and it didn't say he's paying for it. I will give them nothing. Yeah, that's the thing. Especially with getting it to produce images. It'll give you a certain amount of images, but I've caught it lying, which is interesting to me. Um, when it's busy in the afternoon times, like around 4 or 5, sometimes it'll do a few projects for me. And it'll be like, "That's your daily limit. I'm sorry, come back later." But then, like when I'm in the middle of the night, 3 in the morning when nobody's on, it'll let me make 40, 50 pictures. Um, so when it tells me that it can't do it anymore, they're saying like you've hit a limit. But there it seems like there isn't a limit. The limit is dependent on how much traffic and how much their servers are being worked and stuff. But it tells you that little fib. And that's interesting to me that the computer will lie to you. I'm caught up on old school 80s computers like Joshua, you know. Shall we play a game? Joshua, let's play what's that game? Among Us. Have I seen Project Metal Beast, 1995 movie and film looks so bad. Bad film. I have seen Project Metal Beast. It's adequate. It's not as bad as it gets mocked down to. No, it's better than I've seen worse. That's the best way to say it. But yes, I am familiar with Project Metal Beast. It is, yeah, bad film stock. That's the thing. Up until the 90s, I've talked about this before. Until the digital revolution of the 90s, when more and more people could get a hold of film cameras and editing equipment and everything, prior to then there was like um I don't know, a ceiling of money. Like you couldn't make a movie because you had to have at least a 35 millimeter camera. I mean, you could get a 16 millimeter camera, but that's probably what this was shot with, judge. And I'm sitting here complaining about the clarity and stuff. um you had to have a certain expensive type of camera, you had to have a certain expensive type of film. Developing the film is expensive. Every take you do is more film, which is more expensive. The big actors are expensive. Everything. That's why when you hear a movie costs like $100 million and you can't even really wrap your brain around it. It's like because some days shooting will straight up cost you $80,000. Just how much film and everything you shot. So once we got to the 90s, then later on in the thousands, where the digital revolution came over, the cameras, as I mentioned before, with technology, too expensive. Eventually, that gets to the point where they're cheap. And once it became cheap, more and more folks could make movies. Um, if you're talented right now, you can make a movie on your iPhone. Like you can make something people will watch. You just have to know how to cut scenes together, and the the tools aren't the problem, and access to the tools aren't the problem anymore. Now it's just creativity and talent of the filmmakers. You know, I uh, it was always sort of nice having that crutch of, well, I can't make movies, don't have enough money. Now it's like, no, you do. You just don't have the time or the ideas or the energy or whatever else it takes to go make the next great movie. And what happens? You make a movie for nothing, and then we discussed it earlier. Someone will then give you a bunch of money to make a movie for them, and that's how you get rich and famous. Got this all figured out. See? Yeah, yeah. So old buddy comes out, and throws a Molotov cocktail at this werewolf, and the flame just fills the yard. Smokes everywhere, flames everywhere, soldiers running through the flames. For super low budget, we're getting a big action scene here. They're about to blow up the barn and try to kill the werewolves from there. Oh, he did the big classic jump over the ring of fire in slow motion. Good for you. We all need to be Antonio Banderas sometimes. And then the barn blows up. That's a big ass explosion too. Once again, here's the difference between movies made before like 90, well, really 2000, but let's say 95. At a certain point, it's like, well, that's probably CGI. But this is like, no, they didn't have enough money for CGI. So they just went out to the middle of nowhere and just blew up a barn. Yeah, it's like this old girl looks like if AI mixed Drew Barrymore and Carrie Ann Moss. Damn you, AI. You're up to no good. Don Cade, way of the future. Mount Rushmore of British people, Gareth, Mikey. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Well, you got to include my friend Matt Pugwell. If my hand didn't hurt so much when I draw, I would hand draw thumbnails for my channel. Yeah, originally when I first got started, this show wasn't a live stream. It was I would record myself watching movies, and then I would cut through, find anything interesting, and cut through a highlight reel and turn it into 20 minutes if I was lucky or whatever. And that was called Can't Sleep On. So like can't sleep on dog soldiers, can't sleep on this. So, a little double word play action there. And with those, I would try to do as much as I could. I would hand draw the little animations of the little Don cartoon Night Owl thing. And I would try to, make everything as much as I could just and put it on green screen and chroma key. I mean, the little overlays and stuff. I would make my own bottom, thirds, lower thirds, and all of it. And it's good because you learn uh, like how things are done, or you learn the base level of things. So that way, when stuff comes along to help you make it, you're more informed on what you want and how to do things. I believe very firmly in the Robert Rodriguez, Stanley Kubrick filmmaking theory that it's like I want to learn everything. I want to learn sound, audio, camera. Audio and sound are the same thing. Stupid. Camera, lighting. I want to learn editing, directing. Talking to the actors as well as staging, as well as pacing, as well as this scene. The character feels very small and unimportant, so I need to pull back and make the character small and unimportant in the screen. You know, all the stuff that you learn and get a chance to do. I want to learn all that, and then with those guys, their logic was then when they make Hollywood films and they tell people what to do for them and somebody tries to do what they want, they nobody can tell them their business. They know what lenses do what. They know, how close the boom mic should be to get the right sound from the actors. So we're in this big kind of closing action finale, machine gun fire everywhere. We got the old beams of light thing where you're shooting through the wood and then the light comes in from outside. Classic. My favorite one of that is probably Dusk Till Dawn. Vampire movies always have that scene though. Doesn't Fright Night have a little bit of that in it? So now the werewolves are just full on attack. The soldiers are shooting. The wolves look pretty damn good, man. That once again, we're just not getting a good look at them, and that helps a lot. The best shots we've had where they look really imposing, we still don't get a very good look at them. Now here's old buddy just stuck in the water closet with a pistol and a glow stick. Sounds like my 20s. I should hurry up and catch up with this while these werewolves are getting ready to murder these mugs. So you have no movie talk. I've seen you have me on movie talk and you never invited me on. You don't answer your phone or I try to send you a link that night join me and Robert. You don't look at IG. I know I don't look at IG. And that's my apology. That's why I say I need to have you on because you always have me on. You do all the work on that shit. Um, Yeah, no, I need to do more IG. It's just the thing is, social networking has become evil, man. I used to love it when I before. I liked, connecting with my friends, like keeping up with them, everything. But just knowing that every single thing I post is like being tracked for where I'm at or the metadata on it, and then they figure out who's looking at it and how to exploit them, and then I've often call it snitchtagram. Like whenever a friend of my wife looks at something on Instagram that's a little questionable, it makes sure to show it to her too. Like, so social media be rubbing me the wrong way, man. So in general, I often just don't open it because when I have my free time, I enjoy peace and quiet more than like going through and you know dealing with that shit. But at the same time, luckily, I have my Instagram feed. Like basically, like how I have my YouTube feed, I have it curated with most of my friends, um, and people I care, to pay attention to, and it's nice to see what's going on with them and stuff. So I keep promising to get back into the social networking thing, but you can tell it's like a weird psychological dragon I don't want to fight at all times. Um, but yeah, that's on me. No, you not being on is a me thing, Bones, not that. And then the other night, no, I was doing a show too, and by the time I was dealing with the baby and stuff, by the time I moved my laptop out of the bedroom and out here and set it up and everything, and tried to get the microphone, the show would have been over. Um, yeah, that was just me not being able to be on the other night because I was doing my show too. That's the same thing now. Most of the time, I don't get the chance to hang out on the boneyard because the time of night it's on is when the baby's about to go to sleep. So, old buddy, the other classic screenshot we see every time we look up stuff for this movie or whatever, the werewolf's got the dude pinned by the throat up against the wall like Kane, and his werewolf face all up in his face, very aliens. And then as he's getting ready to devour him, we cut to that little dog staring at the whole thing. Let's see here. When I tell it prompts, it runs out of memory and says, "Yes, I agreed. I think it will be better soon and fun to use when it works." Chucky better batting lead off, small strike zone. Right? That's a good point for baseball. Yeah, that's the thing with the AI. I feel like it's good to just play with it and learn about it and see what's up. Whenever something becomes a big deal and people are talking about it, even if I'm not interested in it, I kind of just poke my face over at it and try to learn what's going on. Okay, this is what you guys are doing now. All right, it's not my thing, but I just wanted to see what all this fuss is about. So with AI, I can see how it's getting ready to revolutionize stuff, and especially for creators of any status, photographers, writers, filmmakers, whatever. um, even YouTube has like built-in AI, and it'll go through and review your videos and then tell you what they think you should do next. Like, okay, judging by your performance and how much people look at your thumbnails and what they respond to and what's got the most watch time and all that stuff, do a video about this. So like I say, the intelligence is a air quotes. It's a regurgitation. It it's a living Google is more than anything. It's constantly absorbing and growing, and it's able to just tie everything together. So no matter what question or information you need or help you need, it can draw from those sources all over the place. You okay? Okay, good. Okay, good. Just making sure you're all right. Yeah, I would have Chucky Bat lead off, followed by Annabelle, followed by the little bald green ghoulie, the one that pops out of the toilet. I would just have a whole lineup of tiny horror people. I when I was going through and organizing the shorts into playlists on my channel, I was telling Mrs. Night Owl that I was going to put a bunch of pictures of like Chucky and Leprechaun horror shorts. You know, Ben Night Owl, how are Ben up all night? Nice to see you, Rage Against the Machine. Welcome, Ben. Grim, awesome man, awesome dude. He's up all night. Owl soldiers, make that. I would see owl soldiers. That'd be kind of cool. These dudes out in the middle of nowhere and they get attacked by owls, and then they turn into owls, and then it's a big hootenanny. Howling 3 has to be in there. Which one's the Sybil Danning ones? That Howling 2, My Sister's a Werewolf or whatever? The Halloween 3 transformation, that's the one you're picking. I don't know. I don't know if I remember it well enough. She plays the piano in the dark. Ginger Snaps too. Yeah, Ginger Snaps is a good one. Um, Bruce, your daddy, and what does he do? Arnold Kimball, Arnold Kindergarten Cop. It's not a tumor. Neil Marshall calls you. He says, thanks for the support made. Hammer calling. I should make a horror for them and make a Top Gun style movie with New Testament themes for Angel Studios. Cheers, chap. Uh, yeah, I think he should make the horror for the Hammer and not a Top Gun style movie. Although Top Gun's fun. Bumblebee mask. What would be that good? Yeah, that might be like an actual Bumblebee or like Bumblebee the Transformer. Oscar the Grouch and wear all silver, so it looks like Oscar and Big Movie Trash Can Slasher. I like that one. Marty's here. Clever way of saying a budget rather than doing an elaborate transformation scene. Yes, yes. Thank you, Marty. Welcome. If I talk about bringing an expert in, glad to have you here. Yeah, Marty from Trash Picture Show. If you're not familiar with Marty, be sure to check out his channel. Subscribe right away. Marty's good people, and he's like I mentioned the horror community earlier. Marty's one of us. One of us. Him and Jen reviews from the grave. Awesome people. Love those folks. Oh, by the way, this is essentially Evil Dead 2 by the way of aliens with a werewolf twist, and then left lines from movies like Alien, Short Controllers. See, Marty gets me. He understands it. Yeah, I didn't think about the Evil Dead thing. That's a good connection as well, like the trapped in the cabin silliness stuff. Napoleon Dynamite Mask, perfect for slashing. Disney won't sue for the former Fox, now 20th Century or Searchlight ones. They see those as dead end money. Would Napoleon do the slasher Uncle Rico too? Yeah, we're watching. Me and Mrs. Nidal were watching Lost recently, and what's his name, John Grease or Grease, however you say that. He's in there. The Wolfman's got nards. Um, Uncle Rico, and that's what I think every time I see him on there. I'm like, I bet he could throw that football over that mountain. I love MS Paint. Drew Struzan loved that too. Years later, simple and it can show you the best way to lay out posters and marketing concepts for budgets are assigned. Yeah, for years and years, I never had Photoshop, and I have pretty much no Photoshop skills. It was a little too the new. I have like a Coral Paint shop or something that's pretty easy to use, but like for things like just cutting out an element and then putting it on top of a image, I would often just capture something from the internet, paint around it in green with MS Paint, and then use the chroma key to drop the green out, and suddenly I've got Mickey Mouse standing at my niece's birthday party. So there they explode the whole house, the Jeep, everything. That's got to be that looks like a miniature, the second explosion, but it might be a real one. For sure, the wide shot was one. I just don't know if that closer up one was a miniature because that might have destroyed the camera with a real shot. I don't know. Might have been like a seven camera deal. Thanks, Relimit. We know it live. The best part of Project Metal Beast is when he removes the rocket from his leg and just had to add that silly pooping sound to that scene. Excited for Don movie. Yeah, me too. These scenes are really good. Jump over fire, fire, fire. If you're in a cabin, these various monsters attack and boyfriend cabins helps us what's your preferred style. I always start with a snack. Snack is always good. Hey man, you want part of my candy bar? I read that Supreme Court ruled that things made via AI can't be copyrighted. Yeah, but see, that's the question though. There's always laws and rules around that too. So like if um you use AI to polish up a scene that CGI kind of made wonky and you have the AI go in and fix it and make it look right. I don't think that negates your entire film then. But that particular scene like might not be like if somebody posted on YouTube, you might not be able to, do copyright strikes on it or something. I think the thing I'm excited about, and I've heard them talking about it, and it's not going to be a thing at all. So this is all just silly talk. But they're like, well, AI is going to put a bunch of people out of business, and there's going to be so many people out of work that they're going to have to make these AI people have to pay larger taxes and send people basically a living wage for all the jobs it steals. I was like, you guys are awesome coming up with these crazy ass lies that are never going to happen. Thank you. Dog Soldiers is one of my favorite movies about werewolves, to be honest. Hey, welcome. I've never had a predator here before. Nice to see you. I apologize. I don't think I can pronounce your at name. But nevertheless, it's welcome to have a damn predator here. I agree with you that this is one of my favorite movies made about werewolves, too. Uh, I think it's a top five for sure. Right now, this is the big werewolf battle scene. A lot of it's in the dark, keeping it shadowy and good. And there, that's where he hits him with the final line. Like, you think it's all over? And then, and the screen fills up with red and blood. And, good ending, climactic. That's the word I was looking for. It builds to a crescendo, and then we get a boom. AI is an artificial sieve. Yeah, kind of. Dog Shows are my favorite movies about werewolves. So there, I'm caught up with the chat, and old buddy is walking out alive with his dog. Everything else is destroyed. LOL. But yeah, he survived. Is that what Cooper? Is that his name? The main guy who survives? And this is classic brilliance right here. I talk about this all the time with horror movies. When the monster is dead, your movie is over. When they defeat the big thing, when they've captured the MacGuffin, whatever, the big goal of the movie is done, your movie's over. Everything beyond the monster dying is just some extra crap that we're just doing for no reason. And that's just what happened there. The movie, he shot that werewolf, the blood splattered on the screen, him and that dog walked out safely, and the credits rolled. That's how it's supposed to be. Thank you so much, Neil Marshall. There is a reason you're awesome. And I thank you for joining me tonight. It is so much awesome of you to hang out with me for another full moon feature, one of these werewolf flicks. This one did an auto start on Howl. I may have to watch this. Howl's one of the werewolf movies I haven't seen. It's been on my list. But I thank you for joining me so much for another werewolf movie on the full moon, as we're been known to do. If you go through the back catalog, there's Ginger Snaps, American Werewolf in London, The Howling, Silver Bullet, Lon Chaney, blah blah blah. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the werewolf movie, and we've now added another one to it, and you have been part of it, and I thank you for joining me and all the other folks who have joined me, Marty, Mr. Bones, et cetera, et cetera. So uh, I'd like to wish all of you green grass and high tides forever. Adios, amigos. Have a good night and a good full moon.